again, when we have the opportunities to apply these principles and we don't do it right, or we forgot to do it, we just, went off on a vent or a rant or whatever, and then, maybe we remembered a couple of days later or something, oh, I should have applied that one Course in Miracle principle, where you, okay, now you realize this is happening, and how do I feel, and whatever applies to that situation. And today's class was really wonderful to be reminded that, it's kind of like the real estate test that I took this week. If I got the test wrong, I wasn't stressing out taking a test, because, at least the test that I take, not like, high school and college, it's just continuing ed. So if you get it wrong, you just click a button and they scramble some new questions and stuff, but you get to do it again. You get another opportunity. And I love that about heaven and about our Creator, is the curriculum that we have is a no failure curriculum. We cannot fail, because we keep getting to push that button again, to choose again, to try again. And so anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was really good.
Right on, thank you. So this is chapter 16, section 5, and in the original dictation, the title of the section was "The Ritual of the Death of God," or "The Ritual of the Death of Love," and talking about the special relationship, which is the ego, fear-dominated type of relationship. And in the edited version, which is the blue covered edition, the title is "The Choice for Completion." So we are in the original dictation edition, and where the title is "The Ritual of the Death of Love." So the Course in Miracles distinguishes the special relationship as the relationship that seems to be a love relationship, but it has everything in it which is the opposite of love: fear, guilt, attack, anxiety, depression, broken into by periods in which it seems to be gone. So but it's called a love relationship. That's what A Course in Miracles calls the special relationship. And then A Course in Miracles talks about the holy relationship, which is a relationship that has scrapped the old purposes it used to have for being together, like control, getting, not being alone, something for the body, things that only an ego or a body could value. That's a special relationship. The holy relationship is where we've scrapped all the past goals for our relationships and accepted a higher new purpose for being a relationship, which is allowing spirit to come through the relationship to demonstrate love beyond the body to the world. So we're talking in this section about the special relationship, which is a ritual not that promotes real love, but actually it's a relationship where you're experiencing the so-called death of love. Have you ever been in a relationship where everything you're doing seems to make you love each other less? That's a relationship where the way you're doing it is making love seem to recede and be further and further away. And that's a special relationship. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And the Course in Miracles doesn't talk about it just to be depressing, but the Course in Miracles says that unless you look at the unreal relationship that our egos come up with, unless we look at it, we can never really experience a real relationship, a real love relationship that isn't orchestrated by us, but by spirit. So even though it's uncomfortable to look at it, it's really uncomfortable. Most people don't. Last class I said this is the chapter where most people stop reading A Course in Miracles. So he says, unless you look at it, as uncomfortable as it is, there'll be no chance for having the other kind of relationship, the holy relationship. Because until you look at what we've made of our relationships out of fear and control and guilt, we would never have the motivation that we have to have in order to look at the special relationship. You know, if you don't have the serious motivation to look at it, you never would, because it's uncomfortable. It's not pleasant to see what we've made of our relationships.
Well, as everybody in A Course in Miracles knows, you hear the term special relationship, you know, from the beginning of you coming into A Course in Miracles to this time, however long that has been, you know, as a student, teacher, whatever of A Course in Miracles. This special relationship term has been used, for me it seems like 1,000,000 times I've heard it, in holy relationship. And paragraph number 5 is such a great paragraph to begin a new reading, because it tells us, that's why before we started class I said, what a first sentence. That's all I've read.
Yes.
It's the first sentence. I haven't read any more beyond that.
Right.
But just this first sentence it's like warming us up to let us know where the special relationship came from. You know, why is there a special relationship concept anyway?
Yeah.
Who thought of this thing? And so right out the gate, we're being shown where it came from.
Yeah, exactly. And as we listened to the last few minutes of class from last week, I was saying that a special relationship is a relationship where I want something specially for me.
Right.
I want something that's mine. I can possess it.
I want to be recognized.
Yes. I want to be singled out. I want to be made special. I want you to give something to me that you don't give to everybody else. And if you'll give something to me that you don't give everybody else, and you single me out from everybody for a special form of fear we call love, then we call that love. Oh, they make me special. They've singled me out, and they're going to give me something they're not giving to everybody else. And oh, that means they love me. And of course, so I think that's where A Course in Miracles came up with the term, the special relationship. I'm trying to get something especially for me that you don't give to everybody else, okay? And so that, I just say that to set us up for paragraph 5, where it says, in the special relationship, which is what? Born of the hidden wish for special love from God, that the ego's hatred triumphs.
And there's the seed right there.
Yep.
There's this story as old as this all began. Is once upon a time we were all sitting together, merrily, happy, rowing our boat through heaven, and we decided through this mad, crazy idea that we had that it wasn't good enough just to be equal with Anna and Bob and
all of creation.
Equally
loved by the Creator.
And have everything equally. Well,
that wasn't good enough, sorry.
Who would recognize me? Who would see me? You know, who would hear me? I'm just lost among everythingness.
Right.
And all this oneness. And this crazy thought came along of, what if I was recognized? You know, in other words, elevated.
Special.
Elevated. Special.
Yes.
What if I could experience that? And the only way you could experience it, of course, is if you have everything, is to project yourself out of everything into not having everything.
A body.
Limited.
Yes.
And everything that heaven isn't, from death to sickness to pains to sorrow to loneliness to all of that. And project yourself into this world. And that's where, right out the gate here in paragraph 5, we're hearing this is where it came from. And it came from not a special love for, like bodies, you and me, from God, because that's where it started from. We wanted God's attention. We were like, look at me, your creation, more than you look at the rest of your creation.
Give me something you don't give to them.
I don't know if people watch this. I keep saying the title wrong. It's not Messiah. It's Chosen.
The Chosen.
And so, it's funny in that show because the disciples, you can see are arguing about
the disciples,
who's the most recognized,
who's the most special to Jesus,
who's the favorite.
Yes, exactly.
And that's exactly the original thing that got us in trouble, was this crazy idea that somehow it would be better to be elevated up and to be recognized, to be special, to have this, look at me syndrome, God, please. And that's the recognition we truly want, is from the Creator.
That's what we're trying to get.
Creator's attention.
We're trying to get Creator's attention.
We don't want each other's attention. We're literally trying to get whatever you want to call that, God, Abba, Father, Creator, hey, Dad,
give me some special love.
Notice me, just like that parent thing. You can't get your parents to seem to, appreciate you enough or something. And we have this desire, when Creator loves us so much already to the max, but He loves all creation
everyone,
to the max
equally,
so much.
Equally. And so, if you want special love, you're going to have to make it up and try to get it from a body, because God is like, what do you mean give you something special? What do you mean you? What do you mean give you something special?
Why would I do that?
You're all, you're all one to me.
The only way I could make you unequal to everything that is to take something away from you.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
And that's what we had to do to ourselves to be noticed, is look at, I don't have everything, or at least I'm acting like I don't.
Yeah. And as a kid, and in our adult relationships, think of all the crazy, stupid stuff we have done to get the attention of others.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me special. And so, so it's like, God didn't make me special. I mean, maybe if I had been, was Madonna, I'd feel like God made me special, but God didn't make me special, like God obviously favored other people. So I'm going to find someone who will make me special. Oh, you, I love you. And so that's what the special relationship is. It's like, you're going to make up for me what God deprived me of. And then if you say, no, I'm not going to make you special, I'm going to love everyone equally, you're going to be like, well, you don't love me then. That's not love. Go away. So that's what the special relationship is. It's I'm pissed off at God because God didn't make me special enough. And so now I'm going to find somebody who's going to make me special. And then we're going to call it love. And then we're going to keep that person bound to us with guilt. That's what a special relationship is. I'm going to find somebody who's going to make me special, single me out, and I'm going to make sure they never leave me and give that specialness to somebody else. All right. So that's what a special relationship is. It says, because the special relationship is the renunciation of the love of God. And what do you mean by the renunciation of the love of God? The special relationship is where you are attempting to secure for yourself the specialness that you think God denied you. And it is essential to the preservation of the ego that you believe that this specialness is not hell, but heaven. Wow. So the demand for that specialness that God denied you, somebody make up for it, it's hell. That's how you make a hellish relationship for yourself. That's how you make hell for yourself. But for the ego to stay in business, that hell, that relationship hell has to be called heaven. Oh, if I could only just have a special relationship where someone would give me all their love and not to everybody else. If I could just have that special someone, I'd be so happy. I'd be in heaven. I'm in heaven. Right? And so
you could also translate those two words, hell and heaven, from, safe and dangerous. And the ego relationship, doing it the ego's way is a very dangerous way to do it. It's a self-punishing choice of path, but nobody would go that way unless the conviction, the convincing, the sales job is
the PR.
This will keep you safe
And
if you operate that way.
Exactly.
And so it appears to be heaven, it appears to be safe, secure. That's what heaven is. Heaven is a symbol of safety and security, refuge. No harm, no nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm in heaven.
I'm safe.
I'm at safe ground. This is like, no illnesses can get me here, no cancer can get me here. I'm in heaven, baby.
I'm shielded.
Yeah, and so it's very crafty that the ego philosophy has to convince us, this belief system has to convince us that no, don't worry about it not being safe or dangerous or any of that. It's actually safe
It's
this
heaven.
way. Just come on forward. It's like walking over a bunch of leaves with a bunch of, that's covering a big trap hole that you're getting ready to walk into.
It's something that a devil would do.
It's safe, just come this way.
Come over here, heaven,
Just
look.
do this and that. I know it sounds wild, but it's gonna be safe. Keep you safe.
Exactly. That's something a devil would do. It would say, oh, come over here. If you have a relationship like this, you'll be in heaven. And then you're like, oh, okay, I want that. And then, like Greg says, you walk into a pit, and then you're in hell. And you're like, wait a minute, I thought you said
I thought
you said this was gonna be heaven. And that's exactly what our ego does. The ego is trying to convince us that hell, pain, despair, depression, anxiety, attack, guilt, that's love. That's what the ego is trying to convince us. All this pain and hate and attack and guilt and fear is really love. Well, you only hate those you love,
It's love and it's safety.
Right.
It's protection.
And when you're in a special relationship, you don't feel safe. You don't feel safe. You think that once you get that relationship, you're going to feel safe and secure. But everybody knows that once you get a relationship, a special relationship, as soon as you get in it, you're like, oh, is it safe? Are they going to leave me? I'm like, oh my God. You don't feel safe at all. You feel very insecure. Your insecurities seem to go up, as a matter of fact. So, and these are the dynamics by which that occurs. He says, and it's essential to the preservation of the ego that you believe that this special relationship is not hell, but heaven. Because the ego would never have you see that a special relationship can only be lost. The ego does not ever want you to see that a special relationship that it says is heaven, it can only be lost. So you're in a special relationship if as you're in it you just feel like a lot of loss, like I'm afraid to lose that, or I feel like I've lost that, and now I've lost that, or now I've got to give up this, and where you're experiencing a lot of loss, right? But the ego will never let you see that the special relationship is all about you feeling lost. Why? Why is it that the ego wants you to be in a relationship where you can experience only loss? Is because loss is the one condition in which heaven, real love, cannot be. Wow. Okay, great. That was paragraph 5. All right.
One down and some more to go.
That's right. Now, to everyone, heaven is completion. Okay? When we say, I'm in heaven, what does that mean? It means I have everything. I couldn't want for anything more. Everybody considers that state of completion and fulfillment to be heaven. Everybody would call that heaven. I'm totally satisfied and fulfilled right now. I'm in heaven. So to everyone, heaven is completion. There can be no disagreement on this because both the ego and the Holy Spirit accept that. Both the ego and the Holy Spirit go, yes, to feel complete, lacking nothing, no fear of loss or abandonment, heaven. I have it all. I have everything I could want. I'm in heaven. Ego and spirit agree on that. The ego and spirit, however, are in complete disagreement on what completion is. And also the ego and spirit are in complete disagreement on how completion is accomplished. They both agree that completion is heaven, but they completely disagree on what completion is. Okay, and how completion or heaven is accomplished. Well, spirit knows that self-completion lies first in union and then in the extension of union. Okay, so that's what spirit knows about completion. First there's a joining, and then there's an extension of that joining, forward, a paying forward of that joining, okay, the extension of that union. But to the ego, completion, which it calls heaven, lies in triumph. not union, triumph. Okay, so the special relationship is like, I'm going for triumph. Whereas the holy relationship is, I'm going for real union, equality, and then the extension of that forward. But for the ego, completion lies in triumph, and then in the extension of that so-called victory, even to the final triumph over God. I showed you God. You didn't make me special enough, but they gonna. Now, in this version of completion, in the ego's version of completion, the ego sees the ultimate freedom of the self. Because in the ego's version of completion and union, nothing would remain to interfere with the ego. The ego's like, yeah, I've triumphed over this person and even unto God. I've triumphed even over God. And so now there's nothing left to interfere with my ego because I have triumphed, and which means I won. In the special relationship, it's all about competition. Who's right? Who won? Who's in control? Special relationship is all about battle for control. Who's right? Who's going to be victorious, right? And the ego thinks victory is heaven and completion. Have you ever been in an experience where it was like there was just the spirit of competitiveness in the relationship to the point where you were thinking, man, if I could just win, I'll be happy. We've all been in relationships like that.
Who hasn't?
Yes, we
if
all
you haven't
have.
had that, you haven't been in a relationship because all a relationship is a learning experience, and that is part of the learning experience.
Exactly.
For every relationship. Everybody's been in that relationship where he did this, she did that, and now everybody's going to get out their evidence files and their defense artillery, and they're going to engage.
Going to go to war
with all the evidence of why I'm right, you're wrong.
See, I won.
Everybody's been in that kind of relationship, and in that kind of relationship, we're just hearing the author of the course do what the author brilliantly always does do, and that's to explain to us what we're up against. Not to say you're like this and you're like that, but to say, hey guys, this is what you're up against. You need to recognize that as you start feeling this competitive victory I need to overcome, again, this is where you're at. This is what's going on. And that's what the heart of applying these principles to your relationship is all about. So.
And exactly, and so triumph is the ego's idea of heaven.
Right.
Or love.
It's not your true essence of who you are.
Yeah.
It's just recognize who's in control right now.
Exactly.
At the driver's seat. And
Real.
This is how you recognize it, and you never fix, as we hear many times over, you never fix anything until you recognize the state that where you're at. Till you get the map out and you say, oh,
I'm here.
I'm lost. I took a wrong turn. Shoot. But at least I got a map.
That shows me where I'm
At
at.
least, yeah, I can see where I'm at, and I can see my way out. And that's what I'm hearing here a lot in this is because the author is always coming to us. We'll joke around and stuff with us, but the beauty is just pulling the curtain back from the illusions act, the magician's act, and showing us how the trick's always done. And then when you can see, oh, okay, when I'm trying to win the argument because I know the way I saw perception, I just was listening to a lot of perception on the course today, but from whatever vantage point that we think perception's going to be is the way perception's going to show up for us. But in any event, right or wrong, whether we saw things, heard things, all of our senses telling us what's going on outside of us, the point is the energy that we're drawing of overcoming. And it's like I love it, keeps reminding here is, it's not a battle for you and your mate. This is triumph over God. And that's what it's said at the very beginning of 5, is it's reminding us this is something where we are engaging with Creator. We are engaging with Creator.
Not realizing it.
Yeah, we think we're just playing a little game with each other.
We think we're battling for control and triumph with each other, not realizing that if I knew that I had the complete and total love of my Creator and my Creator's given me everything, I wouldn't be concerned with triumphing over my relationships. I wouldn't be concerned with winning, but
Irene, I think we said it chapter 16, but if we did in chapter 16 and
section 5,
we're at paragraph 6 right now.
And we're in the original edition, the complete and annotated edition, which is the purple edition. Yeah. If you have the blue covered edition, it's chapter 16, section 5, but it's called The Choice for Completion. Okay. All right. So for the ego, the ego's idea of heaven is triumph. When I finally win over them and I'm proven right, okay, now I'll be happy. Now I'll have real love. And we all know that it never happens. Even if you can go, I win, I'm right, and I triumphed over you, you never feel love. The end result is you don't go, oh, I feel so loving, I feel so loved, I feel so safe and loved. No, you don't experience love after you have won or triumphed over somebody. And the holy relationship is where you're not seeking for triumph or you're not seeking for anything special. In the holy relationship, all you are looking at is your equality and then the sharing of that. We have, we both have everything, and now we want to share that everything with others. And it says in a special relationship, it's two people who feel incomplete, who come together to steal from the other one what they feel like they don't have enough of. That's what a special relationship is. I don't feel like I have enough of this, or I'm inadequate here, and so I'm gonna look for somebody who I think has that, and I'm gonna manipulate it, get it from them through guilt. And that's what a special relationship is. A holy relationship is we both recognize we both have everything. We both have all the love, all the power, all the the adequacy, everything that God gives everyone, and we come together just to celebrate it and then extend that to others. That's the difference between a holy relationship and a special relationship. Okay. All right. So now we're paragraph in the original edition, paragraph 6, and now sentence 7. No, sentence 8. From this it follows that union, which is a condition in which the ego cannot interfere, must be hell. Wow. So what is it that's hell? Right. So for the ego, true union, for the ego, true love, true union is hell. The ego defends again. The ego thinks true union, where we both have everything equally, and we don't need to triumph or compete with each other, put each other down to feel better or bigger. That sounds terrible. That sounds like hell. That doesn't sound like love to me. That sounds like, I don't know, not love, right? So that's hell for the ego. The special relationship is a strange and unnatural ego device for joining hell and heaven and making hell and heaven indistinguishable. And that's exactly what the special relationship is. It's like, oh, I love them so much, but God, it hurts so bad. That's like thinking, making a strange unnatural device where you go, okay, here's heaven and love, and we're going to join it with pain and attack and loss, a lot of loss, and then we're going to call it a union. We're going to call it love. Okay? That's what the special relationship is. We're going to take hell and love, and we're going to put them together and go, oh, you only hate those you love. Okay? That's what the special relationship is. And the attempt to find the imagined, quote, best of both worlds has merely led to fantasies of both worlds, love and hate, and to the inability to perceive either world, love or hate, as it is. Okay. So the ego, the special relationship is we're going to put the best of both worlds together. We're going to put hate together, and we're going to put love together. Yeah. And then we'll call it love. It's really just a special relationship. But you can't combine you can't combine love and hate. They don't go together. So, we don't want to say, I hate your freaking guts, but I love you. I'm just saying you're a total idiot and I hate you, but I'm only saying it because I love you. That's where we're trying to combine the best of so-called both worlds and call it love.
But again, the beauty of it is we're unaware we're doing it.
Yes.
Like it's getting ready to tell us it's really a triumph over confusion. And that's where the heart of the author is again, not coming in and poking us in the ribs and saying, and laughing and going, this is what an idiot you guys are. You're trying to put heaven and hell together.
And call it love?
And call it love.
You're trying to put love and hate together and call it love? No. Right.
No, it's, we have found ourselves in a state of confusion. That's what a dream is. We're out of touch with reality. That's why the Course calls us insane.
And we don't know what love is.
And so, again, but the mercy of the insane, us that are confused, the mercy for us is we're tired of being confused. We're weary of being confused.
Exhausted.
And so heaven's like, when you've wearied yourself enough trying to do it your way, and realize that at least you're getting enough smarts to realize that's not working. There's got to be a better way. You're right. All right, hallelujah, you're right. And now you're going to come in and discover what it is to bring you out of the state of slumber, out of the state of sleep, out of the state of confusion.
And what are we confusing? Love and hate.
We think that works. We think, like you said, earlier, you only love the ones you hate.
Yeah.
What?
I hate the ones you love.
That's two.
Yes.
That's two opposites.
I'm sorry I tried to choke you earlier, but it was only because I love you. That's confusion. You've confused love and hate. And the special relationship is a deep confusion between love and hate, believing that love and hate go together. Well, they don't. They're opposites. You can't love and hate at the same time. They are opposites. And so that whole idea that you can love somebody and hate them at the same time it says that special relationship is the triumph of this particular confusion. You are confused about what love and hate is, and thinking that you can put them together and come up with something called love or heaven is just confusion. You're confused, right? He says that the special relationship is a kind of union from which union is actually excluded. And the basis for the attempt at union in the special relationship rests on exclusion. Okay? So the special relationship is like, oh, we're united, we're one. But really, there's not any union going on. There's only competition. There's only triumph, which is not union. Triumph is the opposite of union. And so in the special relationship,
Triumph is the symbol of being on two different teams.
Exactly.
When you're on the same team, you're not triumphing over, first base isn't triumphing over third base.
Right.
No, he's just going, hey, good catch. They're supporting each other, and if anything, they're helping each other for a common goal.
Right. And in the special relationship, the two people are searching for union, but they're searching for union through exclusion. Like, we're going to be one by you excluding everybody else. That's seeking for union, but basing that union on exclusion.
Right.
True union doesn't kick people out. True union is something where there's equality of joining, and then it is extended to everyone equally. That's what real union is. Real union isn't based on exclusion. Like, we're united if you'll exclude everybody else but me. That's not real union.
I could only imagine
in
the beginning of this whole ego, concept world that was created in a delusion. At the beginning, that there was just the exclusion of the one, and then exclusion of the five, and then exclusion. Not a lot of exclusion, just some exclusion. And as the Course tells us, that the ego is a split upon a split upon a split upon a split, multiplied 1,000 times over. And that's what the splits are, is the exclusion.
Exactly.
We think it's okay to exclude any of creation, anything that's real or God created, let's say.
Exclude from our love.
That we exclude that from our, honor, giving it our honor. Then we're doing the special, the task of what creates the life force for the special relationship. I need to have separation. And then it gets to the point,
I need to have exclusion.
From the way it was at the beginning, a little exclusion, to now you have countries all over the world, states within the countries, cities within the states, and counties within the cities, and down to the neighborhoods, down to the address, down to the bedrooms. Exclusion, separation. And that's the nature of the whole ego colony. Whereas heaven is the total opposite. It's joining, supporting, uplifting.
Exactly.
All of
it's
this
inclusive.
opposite. And you can't have both.
Yeah.
The joining and the excluding.
That's right.
They don't sit in the same atmosphere.
They're opposites.
They're total opposites. Light and darkness. Total opposites.
Yeah, the holy relationship is based on inclusion. We first join as equals, realizing that we both have everything already ourselves, and then we extend that equality to include everyone in that completion, that love, that heaven, right? And so and it says, and what better, so here we are seeking union through exclusion. I'm seeking to unite, but doing it through, you will exclude everyone and I will exclude everyone but you. And he says, and what better example could there be of the ego's maxim, seek and do not find?
Yeah.
So the ego's like, seek for love. Oh, if only you could find some love. Oh, go get online. Go find some love. Oh, if only I could find some love. And then we go for love. And then as soon as we think we got love, we're like, exclude, compete, triumph, separate, and then wonder, why can't I find love? I'm always seeking love, but I can never find it. Well, yeah, because you're seeking for love in something that love can never be. But that's the ego's driving motto. Go find some love. Go get some love. If only you had some love, you'd be happy. If only you had some love, you'd be in heaven. But it's telling you to go find some love in exclusion and competition and triumph. So the ego is always encouraging you to seek, but the ego's one proviso is that you never find it.
Yeah, how are you going to find when its whole agenda is to separate and divide and be victorious and triumph? Mm-hmm. Whether it be argumentatively or in just sheer comparison, shopping with each other, or look at my car, or look at my house, or look at me, I don't have a job. It's still a different level than you're at.
Yes.
Everybody's trying to,
compete.
My story,
I have more suffering. Oh, well, I have more wealth. Well, I have more suffering. It's all, the specialness is a desire for something more. I gotta have something more of something. I don't care if it's more suffering, or I don't care if it's more, more wealth, but I'm gonna have more of something. Why? Because I think God didn't give me as much as God gave to others. So I'm looking to get some more of something, that God deprived me of. And so that's what the special relationship is. I'm going to go get me something specially from me that they had to exclude everybody else to give me. And, and that's, I forget what I was going to say, but that's a special relationship. Okay.
You're talking about its main maxim is to seek it.
Yes.
And
don't find.
Do not find.
Seek and don't find. So ego's all about you seeking. Have you noticed? We're all about seeking. There's so much seeking going on. We're all seeking for love. We're all like, oh, I just wish I could have the love that, and then I know I'd be in heaven. I know I'd be happy if I found the love. And so we're seeking, but the ego's making sure that the way we're seeking for love, we'll never experience it.
The reason heaven says, seek and you will find, the reason love says that is because love is already there. You don't have to go anywhere to have love.
Exactly.
Just be love.
You are love.
You are love.
You don't have to seek for what you are.
And that's why it can be said with confidence, seek and you'll find. Right. Because joining in love is already there. Knock and the door will be open. The door is already, what you need is you're standing in it. And the ego's biggest game is victory, triumph, competitive, and how nasty is that? I mean, come on.
It's nasty.
That you like dangle with a carrot. Come on over here. Don't stay where you're at for happiness, even though happiness is all around you.
And you are it.
And you are joy, love, and pure happiness at its essence, at its core. And we've been juked into this belief that we have to go
find it.
Seek it.
Yeah,
go
seek it. And then get it, and then control it.
Right.
In order to have, and then we call that heaven. You know, he said that is a triumph of some confusion as to what love really is.
And when you look at the world that we have co-created together, it seems very plausible that yes, you need to go out and conquer some stuff, all right? You need to go out and triumph some stuff. If you don't triumph some stuff,
you'll have nothing.
That's what
you'll just be a nobody.
It seems like that's what this world's, big billboard is no triumph, no glory.
Yes.
You stay home and eat
you'll be a nobody.
rabbit food.
You be a nobody.
Yeah, so it's very reasonable when we hear these thoughts that come through us that tell us to triumph. We already resonate with that because we already feel self-taught that that's how we have to do it. Since we were kids, we got to triumph. We got to seek for it.
We got
to win first place. We got to have the victory. We got to be, even if we don't have first place, let me get fourth place so I beat Bobby at fifth place. I got to have something to say, some glory,
some specialness,
something to hang my hat on.
That's right.
When we have everything to hang our hat on already.
Exactly.
If we want it.
And we are it.
And we are
it. We like we were here today. We remain exactly as love created us. We already have all the love, all the joy, all the feeling of completion, everything that God gives to everything. We already have that. We are that, right? And but in the special relationship, we don't know that, and so we're seeking to find and get and take and control and possess that love, thinking that we will have love and we'll be in heaven. And then so disillusioned, so disappointed when we seek and find and get and compete, and we're not only not in love, not happy, but we're in hell. That's the term it used just a paragraph ago.
Yeah.
Not only are we not in heaven when we got that relationship, we are actually worse off than before we found that relationship. We're actually in hell, right? And that's what we say. Oh my God, this is. I got a message from a potential client. She was like, "I am going through a horrific divorce." And I'm like thinking to myself, what divorce isn't horrific?
Yeah.
Is there an unhorrific divorce?
I want that lawyer.
Yeah, maybe the conscious uncoupling kind of divorce, maybe. But no, I'm sure that even the folks who are like, we are consciously uncoupling, are doing so because what they were experiencing was a lot of pain. It wasn't good. It wasn't heaven. And then we're like, I'm so disillusioned by love. I'll never love again. As if love disappointed them. As if love hurt them. And now they're all disillusioned. I don't want love, and I don't believe in love, and love is dead. There is no love, and I'm just going to be alone for the rest of my life, and then I'll be happy. Whereas, no, it wasn't love that hurt you. It wasn't love that turned into something horrific. No, it was specialness that seemed to be love that then turned into something that was horrific pain. So love has never disappointed you. Love has never broke your heart, ever. Love has never abandoned you, ever. Never. It wasn't love that hurt you. It was the special relationship in which you denied that you were the love, then went to try to get that love from somebody else, take it from them through guilt and possession and control. That's what hurts you, not love. Okay, and that's good because because we all have love PTSD, thinking that love hurt us. So now we're all like, I want love, but I'm terrified of love. I want love, but I'm terrified of love. I want love, but I'm sabotaging love. We all have love PTSD, as if love hurt us, or as if love abandoned us or disappointed us. But when we hear this, we realize, oh, that wasn't love that hurt me. That was ego. That was fear. That was, that was the opposite of love that hurt me. So now I don't have to be afraid of love.
That was the way I was taught to have a relationship.
Yes, that's what I was taught love was.
That's what I was taught, to have a relationship. You have to compete. You have to, even as a child, you had to argue, make your case, and compete. And if you had siblings. And so it was like inbred, as we say, as children, and then put into our relationships, and it seems natural for both sides, both parties of the situation. It seems natural, to be combative, competitive. Yeah, I gotta be right, whatever, and it's that all that energy that it's not when you're supporting each other you have a breakup. Why'd you break up? Because she was just supporting me too much. She's just like, every time I turn around, she was like, that is really great.
Good job.
Good job.
Wonderful.
I knew you could do it. You said you're going to do it. And look,
you're awesome.
You did it.
Look at that.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I was like giving me a pounding headache every time she kept praising me and honoring me and supporting me. And I just left that be,
Yeah, exactly.
They'd be looking at you going, do you still have her phone number?
Exactly. I have had somebody say, you're too nice, you just agree with me, and I need somebody that I can, I forget what the word was, but someone I can compete with, someone I can argue with, someone who questions and confounds me and confronts me. And I was like, oh goodness, I'm so glad that you think that I'm too nice. Thank you, God. I said, don't worry, you'll have a million chances to find someone just like that. But of course you're tempted to go, what? I'm too nice.
Yeah.
So
somebody that really will challenge your opinion.
Yes, exactly.
And you can state your case and make a real good victory case.
Right. Yep, exactly.
That's what you
I need somebody whom I can triumph over. That's how I'll know they love me, right?
And it's so wild that, as we're saying that, nobody's ever left anybody for supporting them. Think about it. So if that's the case, why are we always doing the opposite so much, where we're not supporting our partner, or we're not, engaging with just simply honoring them? Again, remembering that whoever the partner is, at work, at home, whatever, at school, whoever the partner is in this top relationship, when we turn the table and we start supporting them and honoring them, what I'm hearing here is now we're reverting back to, again, Creator God. We're honoring God.
Our relationship.
We're supporting God by honoring God's creation. But now we're not like at the beginning where it's saying we basically got in a fight with God. All right? Just to face it. You got topped an attitude and got in a fight with God. And wanted, like a child, wanted to argue with the parent and throw a fit, like you said. People do the craziest things, like in a store,
who's trying to get
you are gonna
pay attention. Me. You are gonna notice
me. You
me.
are gonna notice me.
And
That's like what we're doing with God. Like, you are gonna notice me.
Exactly.
And I'm challenging you. And God's just sitting there like
well, all of our conflict, which is the desire to triumph, it all starts from feeling like, why didn't God give me more specialness?
Right.
Why didn't God make me? Why didn't God give me that talent that God gave that person? Why didn't God make me born into that royal family like that person? Why didn't God give me more? And why did God give them more and me less? It all starts. I feel so inadequate. I feel so incomplete within myself. I feel so unnoticed. And that's what it always starts with. And so we're like, well, I'm gonna get some specialness, and instead of going, God, God, we go to to other people and go, you're gonna make up for what God didn't give me, which is also what we do in our relationships. So we have a relationship where we feel like that person deprived us of something that we deserve, but they didn't give us. And so then we end that relationship, and then we go to the next relationship, and we're like, now you gonna make up for what my last relationship deprived me of. And I don't know if you know that, but that's what you're gonna do. Now we say that to the other person unconsciously, silently. We don't say to the person, the other person, they did me like this, and you are not gonna do me like that. I mean, maybe we do say that. I guess we often do. You ain't gonna do me like they are. And we tell them up front, but typically we don't even say it. We just put that silent, unspoken expectation on them. You're gonna make up for me what my last partner deprived me of. But I'm not gonna say that to you out loud. You should know that if you love me. And then, wow, what comes after that.
It's almost like we're trying to triumph on our last partner.
Yes, exactly.
That has nothing to do with whatever.
That's right, exactly. We're trying to triumph over our last partner with our new partner. Just like we're trying to triumph over God with our special relationships.
Yeah, because God was in our last partner.
That's right.
Just like God is in our new partner. So we're just trying to triumph over the same entity.
To get something that we already have. All of us have.
We already have attention.
We already have total.
We're already noticed. We're already adored in the heavens.
We're already lavished
We're already
upon.
loved beyond the language of human lips to speak how great that love is. We're already all of that.
Yeah.
But somehow we really believe it would. Yeah, that's great, and wonderful, but couldn't it be better? And it's like, no, what's better than everything?
What's better than heaven?
What's better than having everything, all things, knowing everything?
Yes.
Eternal, can't be hurt, can't be harmed, can't lack, can't die, can't suffer, can't lose, can't lack. Can't be in pain unless you want to be. Did you want to be, Johnny? Do you have some crazy thing?
Are you insane?
Fixation for
suffering?
Any of that? Oh, you want all of that? Fear of and
loss,
not just death, but fear of how and when. It's a big secret. What corner in my existence
could be today?
Is this gonna happen?
And if not today, maybe tomorrow you could die.
Yeah, just like talking to somebody today, they're saying that they hope it's in their sleep,
Exactly.
But people are always thinking about it.
Exactly. Beautiful. All right, and so now what comes up next is really deep, okay? The title, The Ritual of the Death of Love.
I know.
In the special relationship, basically it's like what it's going to talk about is we set up an altar in our relationship, and then we sacrifice ourselves in the name of love, and and then expect the other person to do the exact same thing, and we call it love. Well, really it's just a ritual sacrifice of our innocence and who we are. You know, we all know how it goes. You know, we get into a relationship and it's like, I accept you perfectly as you are. I don't want you to change at all. And then you get into the relationship and it's like, hey, you know what? You need to stop going to the bowling that you do with your buddies. You know, you need to sacrifice something, some part of you that makes you happy for this relationship to show that you love me. You know, so at first it starts like, I don't want you to give up anything. I love you exactly as you are. And then the longer it goes on, the more each of you have to sacrifice what is important, it makes you happy for the sake of the relationship in the name of love. That's a ritual of the death of love. That's not love. You know, where you're constantly like, I gave up this for you, now you better give up that for me. You know, you said you love me, right? So now it's going to talk about, it says in paragraph 8, most curious of all is the concept of the self, which the ego fosters in the special relationship. Okay, well, the self that the ego fosters in the special relationship, this so-called self.
And this is what Anna was saying, the image that we made of ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
Not the self that God made.
Yes, the incomplete self, where God didn't make me special enough self.
You could call it an idol.
Yeah, your false self, your self that feels incomplete and lacking, like it needs to go seek for some love and get some love, and then control it and possess it. This lacking self seeks the special relationship to make itself complete. I'm looking for a relationship to make me complete. Yet when my ego, incomplete, lacking self finds that relationship, when it finds that special relationship in which my ego self thinks it can accomplish completion for me, then this inadequate, incomplete self gives itself away and tries to trade itself for the self of another. Okay, so let's put that into a picture. Okay, in a special relationship, I feel incomplete. I don't feel adequate. I don't feel good enough. I feel like something's missing in me. God gave all the good stuff to everybody else, but not me. You know, and so now my so-called self that I feel is incomplete and lacking, I'm gonna go find another self that I think can complete me, complete my lack, my void within.
Can help elevate me.
Exactly, and give me something that I don't have within me. I'm gonna go find the self that has my missing parts, and then when I find that self that has the part in me that I think is missing, I'm going to give myself away to get that other person. Have you ever given yourself away to get somebody else? Like, oh, I won't be myself if I can get you. I'll be whatever you want me to be. Oh, you want me to be a dutiful wife, a dutiful daughter? Oh, okay, even though that's not really me. I will give myself away, whatever is my true self, to get the self of the other person whom I think has my missing parts or my missing stuff. Okay? That's what's going on in the special relationship. You know, we've all done it. You know, we get in a relationship with somebody and they're like, I don't like it when you be yourself. Okay, well, I won't be myself. Who do you want me to be? I'll be that. I'll be that person. And they're like, wonderful. Oh, love. And then now they're in a relationship, but now you're in a relationship where you entered a relationship without yourself. You entered a relationship and left yourself outside of that relationship. You sacrificed your real self at the altar of that fake-ass relationship, calling it love. So the self, that's the concept of the self. It's inadequate. I don't like it. I'm going to trade it for somebody else's better self, and we're going to call it love. That's what's going on in the special relationship. And he says, this is not union. If you're going to give up who you are to get a special relationship, to get somebody else's self that you think is better, that's not union, because in that there's no increase and there's no extension. What's really going on is each partner is trying to sacrifice the self in themselves they don't want for the self they think they would prefer. That's what's going on in the special relationship. I don't like myself, so I'm going to trade myself for yourself, which I think I would prefer. You know, yourself seems to have so much more specialness than myself. So I'm going to sacrifice myself, trade it for yours, and we're going to call it love. But there's no union and extension in that. There's only sacrifice and, what do you say? No, there's only sacrifice. It's just sacrifice and loss. Okay? And then when we do this self-swap, this self-sacrifice in the relationship, then we feel guilty for the so-called sin of taking their better self and giving them our bad self, giving them nothing of value in return. Okay? If I don't like myself and I'm going to swap myself for yourself, how am I not going to feel guilty that I gave you my bad self?
Well, you gave them your bad self because it's your fake self,
Yeah.
which is not your real self. And the self you gave them is your resentful self.
Yeah.
And your frustrated self, your envious self.
Your angry self.
Angry, upset self, because you're not able to be yourself.
Exactly.
But it reminds me of that old saying, you know, what do you gain, you know, out of this situation if you give up your own soul
Yes.
to gain the whole world?
Yes.
And you think that by being with this other person is
Right.
the whole world.
Yes.
That because you think by being connected in relationship with them that you'll be happier, you'll be more abundant.
You'll be complete.
You'll be completed, however that completeness
Yes.
works in that story.
Right.
To the degree that you're willing to give up who you are to be in that relationship, whether again it's at work or at home, wherever
Yes,
that
right.
relationship is, school or friends, or where you literally give up you to be thinking, well, at least I'll be connected with
Yes.
them and their friends and their whatever, whoever.
Exactly. Right.
And but all you did was give them a very resentful you, because eventually, you know, it's like trying to put a dog in a cage and never letting it get, or a bird in a cage and never letting it come out to fly.
Yes.
And it can't be its true self. It's gonna
bite
you on the
It's
hand
exactly.
when
Draw
you try
blood.
to put some food in there, thinking
Yes.
you're even being loving toward
Yes.
it, but it's not its true self.
So it's gonna.
You've tamed
Yes.
it from its true instinct,
Free.
being free, and to be free is to be as God created
Is
us
to be complete.
to be. That to be complete,
Yes.
not to sacrifice ourselves so that we can think we're going to gain more by giving up ourselves to be in relationship with this person or circumstance.
Exactly. You
Never,
know,
never works out.
and yeah, I mean that's that's the first thing we learn about relationships when we're little. We're like, son, daughter, if you want to have a relationship, it's all about compromise.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
even
Give and take.
even a
My
master's
mother
degree
told me that.
in
Give and
counseling
take. It's all about
psychology,
give and take.
right? You know, they tell you it's all about compromise, aka sacrifice. I give up something that is my true self, and you give up something that makes you happy, it's your true self, and we'll call it a truce and we'll call it love. And the Course in Miracles says you can't give up your true self and not be resentful. You can't give up your true self and be loving. You know, you when you give up your true self, even if you think you're getting a better deal, you can't not be resentful. It's not possible. Okay, I'll give up part of my true self because I think I'm getting something of greater value in exchange. But even if you think you're getting a good deal, you still can't. You're still only giving to them resentment. That's what you're really giving, like Greg was saying, and that's what we have been taught is love, or the essence of a relationship. Okay, and of Course in Miracles is saying, no, that real love is something where it's real union and then the extension of that, not getting something you don't already have and possessing and controlling it, thinking that you'll feel complete. All right. Now, so it's talking about the concept of the self that is fostered in the special relationship. Okay, it says, okay, great. Because and you feel, and in the special relationship, and you've sacrificed you've given yourself up to get their better self or their better life, and now you feel guilty for the so-called sin of taking their better self or their better life and giving them nothing of value in return. Okay? Because how much value can you place upon a self that you're ready to give away just to get a better person or a better self or a better life?
Right. I don't like the self that I have.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to just give that self up.
Yeah. Give it up.
Yeah.
Give it up.
It's boring to me.
Exactly.
I have to live with it. So I'm giving that thing up and gonna connect with you,
right.
And party on yourself.
You're gonna give me a better life. You're gonna give me a better, more special self or a better, more special life.
And it's funny because even that person, even though they feel guilty, that they have given nothing in return, and this person gave up their self, but they feel guilty. But then they reason, going, but how much value could they even gave me if they're willing to give up their self for a better self?
Yeah, exactly.
And because they're probably looking at their self and not seeing much value.
That's right.
And going, man, they're willing to give their self up for this self?
Wow, they see value in me. Wow. They think I'm special.
Huh, cool.
Right.
I like that.
I think I'm in love.
Yeah. Finally, somebody sees my value, that I'm more valuable than they are. They're willing to give up themselves to be with me.
That's right. They think that my self is better than their self. Well, dang, finally. Someone sees correctly.
I told them to stop doing that. Doing what? Being themselves like that. And they stopped bawling.
And they stopped being themselves, and they sacrificed that.
Whatever that story was.
Yeah.
And I recognized that they saw the value of me.
That's right.
That's how we.
And that's what we call love.
And that's how we establish self-worth, self-value.
Yes.
Is where other people give up part of themselves.
Yes.
For us.
Yes.
And we think that that's a measure of our established value.
Yes.
When they do it.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's a special relationship. And remember, like Greg and I have been saying, the Course isn't just trying to go, look at you idiots.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of,
you have to keep reminding through these kind of sections.
You have
and
to.
Then you won't want to throw the book down like
exactly.
Anna said. She's been doing this for a long time, and she knows I've seen it like a revolving door. I used to ask her, why do people come in? And it seems like, I don't know.
They love it.
They just cannot get enough.
And then you never see them again.
And then all of a sudden disappear.
And I told them usually it's because they got into a special relationship and they don't want to hear A Course in Miracles. When you're in a special relationship and you're not both trying to evolve it into something that's real love, then you don't want to hear this. Because you want to keep your special relationship, and so you don't want to hear this because you don't want to hear anything that's going to make them or you not go along with the game.
Yeah, you have to do it a different way, and that different way, we say this all the time. It seems really nerve-wracking, scary, uncomfortable, awkward, because of this thing. Called trust. Now we're trusting our Creator, our Source, rather than trusting the partner that we will be happy. that you can go do your bowling night,
Mm-hmm.
and I can sit home and not be bored or lonely or by
Yes.
myself. I will discover this was what always happens when you trust Spirit and don't issue out condemnation, judgment, try to change them, blame them, and you go with it and try to trust the flow of it.
Mm-hmm.
What you'll discover is, I would have never known that I was an artist
Mm-hmm.
until I allowed them to do that without condemnation and judgment.
Without giving them
And
guilt.
then all of a sudden, because your mind isn't full of judgment,
Mm-hmm.
it's free to receive.
Yes.
It's not. It's got a vacancy in the end.
Free to receive
It's
inspiration.
like, so what am I gonna do, Spirit? What should I do? And it will come to you.
Yeah.
And it'll be loving because you're giving support. You'll receive support,
Yes.
and you'll find out all kinds of beautiful things
About
happening
yourself.
about
When
yourself.
you fall in love with yourself and
You're
realize, I didn't even know myself. I so didn't know myself that I was bored with myself. And if you are bored with yourself and you think yourself is in any way inadequate, it ain't because yourself is inadequate or boring, it's because you don't know yourself. You know, and of course you don't know yourself. You've been giving yourself away to get the better self of somebody else. You know, so of course you don't know yourself.
And trust me, when you're in a relationship where two of you are joined on the idea, as the Course says, you know, when you join, it makes the idea stronger. So naturally, what will happen? And you will become a lot more appreciative to the partner in your relationship. Again, it could be at work, at school, it could be at the office, and most certainly at home in your relationships there, where the people respond with appreciation because you're allowing them
To be themselves.
to not just be
Yes.
themselves, but to learn of themselves.
Nice.
You know, you hear this deal, know thyself. Well, how can you know thyself when you're giving up thyself all the time to be in these relationships with people? But when we get in relationships, and that's the real support that we can try to give each other, is to allow them to be themselves, express themselves, and just to try to be supportive and let that evolve into what it evolves into without judgment and condemnation. And that's what we get back in our own relationship.
Yes. Beautiful. Now, I think we should stop here because,
Paragraph 9.
yeah, well, so,
Paragraph 9, if you're re-listening to this next
which will
week.
be us re-listening to
Yeah,
it.
like, what paragraph were we on? Wow, okay.
Yeah, we got a long journey
This is
here. It's a long section.
17, and we're on
Yeah.
9.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow. We're
But
not
we-
gonna get
we're not
off this
rushing
saddle for
through.
a while.
We decided and agreed that when we start a section, no matter how many weeks it takes to finish it, we're going to finish that section, especially these sections, which are all about relationships. This is all relationship stuff, and that's what this class is about.
Each
So,
paragraph gets deeper and deeper.
yes.
And if for fun, you know, challenge yourself to during this week to read this section. So when we all come back together and pick back up in paragraph 9 next week, you already have some revelations. You already have some juices flowing on it.
And maybe even some questions.
Yeah, and maybe some questions. But it is certainly, I believe, reel you in deeper.
Yeah.
We want to go deeper and deeper and deeper into how do these truths work in the relationships of our life in every aspect, everywhere we go.
Yeah.
How
All
can
of
I
our
take
relationships.
this everywhere I go and make this work in everything I do?
Exactly. And the reward for this kind of work is a relationship where you actually feel complete. You know, a relationship where you felt complete they felt complete and you came together, and now you share of your abundance, the abundance of your completion with the world. And what do you think becomes of your world when the two of you are sharing of your abundance, your overflowing abundance of feeling how much you have, not how much you have. Your world celebrates you. Your world is treats you like cosmic spiritual royalty when that's the way that you are in relationship with your world. Like, I have everything, I'm complete, and I'm only here to give to you, to share of my abundance. Okay, everybody will be very happy to see you come among them when you're coming to share of your abundance instead of coming amongst them to get some specialness from them. When your purpose is to get some love from somebody, they see you coming a mile away, and then they close the shutters. Like, don't answer the doorbell. Don't everybody turn off the lights and hide, because he's coming to get something. Okay, and whatever it is he's coming to get, he ain't gonna appreciate it when he gets it. Because he believes that there's lack within him or her. So the whole purpose of this, the reward of doing this work, is that you experience yourself as full up with everything good and beautiful and powerful and creative, and you are in love with yourself. And now everyone's in love with you. And you're just going around creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy wherever you go. That's the reward of doing this kind of difficult work of looking at what we have made our relationships to be. So we just want to remember why we're doing this very difficult exploration of the old kind of relationships. So
beautifully said.
Thank you. So we'll start next Sunday on paragraph 9 in the section called The Choice for Completion in the blue covered edition, The Rituals of the Death of Love in the purple covered edition.
All right.
Appreciate you guys. You're awesome.
Have
Thanks
a
for
great
hanging
week.
in there.